find that more times than not, I am saying meh or eh or nope, nada, or something of the like towards the games I currently have in my possession, them being the only ones that I can play. And no, I don't have any new games. Oh, it would be nice if COVID lifted up, all of our jobs come back, and I could just waltz into Walmart and snatch a couple of games with my wallet. Which is currently empty. Anyway, whenever I think I should take a break, sometimes that being 5 hours long or plus, and play one of my games, it's always Breath of the Wild. Because that and Xenoblade Chronicles X are the only games for the Wii U, without some of you knowing that my 3DS is acting broken on me, which I can only play Fates for a short while, and that can be relentlessly crisping my... Then we are all reminded of the ultimate game which we are patiently, painfully, excitedly waiting for. The sequel to Breath of the Wild. What is the story? What will the gameplay be like? What weapons will Link use? Voice acting again? Characters? It's gonna be creepier than MM, right? Battle moves? Open world? A new world? What happens to Zelda? Will she be playable? Will Ganondorf make his return? Will Link talk for the very first time? Okay, well, yes, I could rant and rave about the sequel for ages on end, and believe me, I have spoken my mother's ear off about it long enough. That would simply take time, effort, and the point away from this video. So, without further ado, let's get right into it, shall we? Oh, wait! I nearly forgot! Before we get into the video, it's time for this video's sponsor. And no, I am not sponsoring some crazies like Raycon or Squarespace. There are already enough ads about those. You know who and what those are. Today's unpaid sponsor is my very own mother. The apocalypse has otherwise broken out of its confinement and plagued us all with trials and suffering, leaving us to fend for ourselves against the demons of the mind, body, and soul. And by that, I mean that in this day and age, in 2020, we are all mentally frustrated, emotionally frustrated, and just cannot seem to get a damn break. But hey, my mother is here to help you all out with that. She is a life coach who is well brain stacked on almost everything you could imagine. She's adept to helping with suicide, depression, and outrage, and even peeling back the onion layers of toxic relationships, helping people figure out why they acted the way they do and where it stems from. She's helped me out quite a few times already when I felt like I was going emotionally insane. Being jam-packed indoors nowadays, no jobs, and it looks like there's an invisible fire outside eating at all of our lives. So if any of you are already interested in making your lives even a bit mentally and emotionally better, check out her YouTube channel where you can watch her videos, or contact her on social media to get right to the jam-packed problem which you are facing and get in-depth, thorough, and helpful advice on how to not just deal with it, but get rid of it. Links in the description below. Now this will probably be a short video on my short list of top 5 things that I would like to see come back to the series. Entry number 1. There is only one thing in Link's life that truly matters. Pots. Nah, I'm just kidding. Weapons! That's what matters to our multi-weapon wielding swordsman, who has enough juice in his flimsy arms to throw this thing around like it's nothing. Would you look at him? Now, I'm not saying that there should be more Actually, yes, there should be more than just swords and lances. Because basically, when you look at Breath of the Wild, everything is usually a sword of some sort. Swords, bows, lances, those are all fine. But what about magics? Or even a good old ball and chain like from the era of Twilight Princess? Or masks that actually do something like from Majora's Mask? But not just that. Oh no, not just that. I'm also speaking about how the weapons Link uses are necessary and even required to completing specific puzzles and missions, or even accessing otherwise hidden, unreachable places, like in the temples of the good old days long past. The Crocs replaced this with their own, far more naturalized puzzles that really make you think, if your brain is strong enough to figure out even half of them on a dime, because mine was not. There is even one in which a bow is required, as you have to shoot all of the moving balloons, timing the shot perfectly to match up with the distance, speed, and angle of the target from which you remain on the stump, which you cannot move off of while shooting. Then there is the infamous, oh, there is a circle of stones formed in the water and a bunch of small liftable boulders scattered everywhere where normally there are none. What is up with that? To which it took me an embarrassing long time to figure out that all you have to do is throw a boulder into the rock formation below to get a Korok to appear and obtain yet another seed. Not trying to at all bash the very well thought out puzzles of Breath of the Wild. The puzzles all seem to harmonize since they all comprise of elements of the world itself, but you know, it would be nice to see some diversity. Entry number 2. Yeah, weapons are good and all, but they are kind of useless if you don't know how to use them. Like, how to use them other than mindlessly hack and slash over and over again. The same moveset performed for the millionth time. And that segues perfectly into entry number 2, which is my very strong opinion on combos and a more vast range of movesets. The Hero Shade taught our lovely hero of Twilight all about the ancient arts, also known as the hidden moves. Once one masters them, can you really ever get enough of all that action? Overpowering your foes with devastating blows that they never saw coming, rolling to the side so that you find yourself behind the enemy before stabbing them in the back over and over, or leaping over their head and barrel rolling, swinging your blade to cleave their helmets in half and get to this vulnerable, sweaty flesh underneath. The reason why we never saw anything of the sort in Breath of the Wild is likely because the world already was massive, with massive details filled with massive amounts of objects and features already, that there simply was no room to add in something that would have made fighting a little more memorable. I mean, this is Link. Who says that after 100 years or so that he cannot still be extraordinary like his ancestor? Well, yes. It's my list, and this is something I would like to see come back to the series. Entry number 3. Looking at everyone else walking around in Breath of the Wild, do you see anything specific that specifically makes Link specifically distinct? And no, I'm not talking about how his size is shorter than others of his kind. Look closer. A little closer. Closer. There, see it? You do, don't you? Link never once has spoken. Physically, to us players, that is. And it's clear that our hero here is just shy. I mean, what else could it be? He's not mute, so he's gotta be capable of verbal communication like any normal person. That is where I get to the point I wish to make. If anyone at all in the ruins of Hyrule Castle has come across Zelda's diary and was naughty enough to look at it, to even read it through to the end, then you would know that Zelda always felt uneasy around and about Link, and yet he's never spoken. That is until she managed to peel back the layers and make him open up. From her diary, I am uncertain of what page, it reads this, and these are her exact words. Bit by bit, I've gotten Link to open up to me. It turns out he's quite a glutton. He can't resist a delicious meal. I finally got around to asking why he's so quiet all of the time. I could tell it was difficult for him to say, but he did. With so much at stake and so many eyes upon him, he feels it necessary to stay strong and silently bear any burden. A feeling I know all too well. For him, it has caused him to stop outwardly expressing his thoughts and feelings. I always thought him to be simply a gifted person who had never faced a day of hardship. How wrong I was. Everyone has struggles that go unseen by the world.
Seriously, I don't know where my script went. It's just gone. So, forgive me for that.
Link has spoken to Zelda, another person, before, and likely many times. It's only sad that we do not get to see these exchanges happen, but maybe we will. In the sequel of Breath of the Wild, they will be traveling together again. We already know that much by the trailer. So hopefully we will get to see some discussions that aren't all her speaking. That is my hope to see in the series, and I think it would be a long time coming for us fans. And maybe we can get some more beautiful hi-has from him, like here. Entry number 4. Moving on. Okay, well actually, I am feeling actually pretty guilty for the fact alone that most, if not all, actually they have of these entries have been containing something or other from a past entry in the series, that being Twilight Princess specifically. But what can I say? I love that game so very much. It's so unfair that Twilight Princess is the only one of its kind in the Zelda series. And to be honest, I haven't played very many Zelda games in my life, so maybe I am cheating or honestly only choosing the best from the best in the arsenal I have. I don't know. Anyway, number 4 is, once again, something from the era of Twilight, but something very specific that I think it might be able to pass the review test. I have very, very, very high hopes for this, all considering where the sequel will take place in the catacombs and old abandoned mines located underneath the castle. What does that mean? Well, it means new designs, new world hub to explore, new treasures and mysteries to find and solve. That means a whole new atmospherical texture. And I think something like from Twilight Princess would cut the cake. And no, I do not mean redesign in models to suit the style of Twilight Princess. I am specifically talking about the atmospheric ambience which shrouded the era of Twilight like a cloud. No, not Twilight particles, the ambient somber lighting and textures. That game was designed so in a way in which every single inch is screaming in beauty, mystery, and sadness. Would that add or only take away from the sequel's effects? I have no idea, but I think it would be bone-chilling cool. But I mean, it's supposed to be darker than Majora's Mask. I think it would be fitting, right? And finally, at the bottom of my list, is an entry that I had to go diving for and grab by the end of the tail. Here is number 4, at a crystal clear wish of underwater exploration. That was at the top of my list when I played Breath of the Wild for the very first time. You can swim, but you can't dive below the water surface? What? Madness. Being able to go underneath the water surface has always been a huge thing in the Zelda series ever since A Link to the Past. And I would really like to go diving again sometime in the Zelda future, if it's not going to be a schematic available in the sequel. But I can hope. I will hope. Hoping is all I have, right? All those rubies stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Someone's gotta clean them up. Alright, y'all crazy Zelda fanatics, that wraps up my list for top 5 things that I would like to see return to the series. What do you think? What improvements or old classics would you like to see returning to the series? Let me know in the comments below and we can discuss our favorites and least favorite features in all the games we've played. If you like my content, feel free to subscribe and help me beat that YouTube algorithm by spamming that like button so that other Zelda fans see it too. Stay safe out there, take salt with your meals, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao!